Well, hello, race fans. Welcome back to the USF Pro TV studios. My name's Rob Howden, and our season preview show's continuing as we're only a couple of weeks away from getting the season underway, as we know. Of course, NOLA Motorsports Park will start things off with spring training. We'll go right from there straight to the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, hit the Concrete Canyon with a nice street circuit event for our USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 drivers. Always a fantastic way to start the season. Everyone's excited to get out of the snow and the cold, wherever they may be, get down into the Florida sunshine. And we're excited to get that going. The shows, of course, the season preview shows have been great so far. My guest today is one who's going to be able to speak to what it's like to create champions. Joining me today will be Peter Dempsey from Turn 3 Motorsport. No stranger to winning races and, of course, winning championships as well. Himself a race-winning driver in his days behind the wheel, but of course now as we know him as a team owner and as an engineer for Turn 3 Motorsports, winning the USF Pro 2000 Championship last year with Lockie Hughes. And of course, we'll be watching, like everybody from Turn 3, we'll be watching Lockie move into the Indy Next Series this season in 2025 to run with Andretti Autosport, hopefully going after a scholarship to move himself up to the NTT IndyCar season. Let's see right now if we can bring him in. Peter Dempsey's joining us here today. Peter, let's see. Are you there with us? Let's see if we can't dial you in. Waiting for Peter.
Yep.
There you are.
We're all here.
Peter,
see you, Rob.
Thank you so much for joining me, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out because I know that you guys unbelievably busy. It's the off season, if you will. But you guys are nonstop either at the track, you're testing. I know you're wrapping cars right now in the shop. How are things going in the off season before we jump into the show?
It's been great. You know, obviously coming off the back of winning the championship with Lucky last year, it's been busy. A lot of interest. I think the series in itself is growing for next season. So we've been flat out testing. I think we did like a combined of 8 to 10 test days before December, and we've another 6 preseason days coming up here before St. Pete. So right now we're in the thick of it. Engines are out, back to elite, and cars are being stripped and rebuilt. So we've got 2 weeks before we go to our next test. So it's going to be a busy couple of days here, but you know, we always make it happen. So it's just part of it.
Well, I'm starting to get impatient. I know all our race fans for the USF Pro Championship getting impatient as well. You've announced Alessandro Di Tullio, who ran last year with BN Racing. He's going to be with you. You normally run 4 or 5 cars, but we don't have anybody else announced yet. Is that happening pretty soon? Like I said, I'm starting to get impatient.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some things have got delayed just, you know, with different drivers and contracts and negotiations. I mean, everyone that we have, the drivers we have lined up for the 5 cars is all confirmed for the most part. It's just basically kind of tying up the loose ends right now. So we're not in a position really to announce them until the loose ends are tied up. But I mean, we've got all our drivers, you know, prepped and ready to go testing here soon, and we should be able to rock up to St. Pete with a full program, and I'm confident it's going to be a very strong one for the season.
Yeah, you don't announce a driver till the contract's signed, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you know. It don't end up like in a McLaren situation where we're just announcing drivers for fun of it. So
exactly that. So, again, this show is about creating champions, and you guys have obviously done that. You've won so many races yourself. Your dad, of course, multiple champion overseas in Formula 1600 racing. So let's just start with creating champions because, you know, you're more than just a team that runs races, right? Your idea is to bring these kids into your program and coach them up, right? A lot of it is about you sitting down and making these drivers different from the day they start with you till the day they finish with you, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot goes into it. I mean, obviously, you know, the best drivers don't always win championships. You know, if they're managed wrong or they're mentally weren't strong enough to, like I was to win races but not championships. Yeah. But obviously, you know, growing up around racing since, you know, my whole life with my dad's team, and then, you know, working and seeing all his drivers come through his program, and then coming over here racing and kind of fighting for my own life to be successful. I kind of learned a lot, you know, even with Juncos Racing. I worked with Ricardo and Ernie there for like close to 10 years. So, and we won a lot of championships there with the Indy Next 2 championships, and I think we won 2 to 3 Pro 2000 championships there. Yeah. So I've always been a part of winning. You know, now I can bring that forward into my own program, and we always knew like setting up the team was going to take time, and finding the right staff and getting the team morale right to allow drivers come in and kind of grow and be part of the program. And we are so fortunate, I think, over the last couple of years to have some really talented kids come through the program, like really, like, Michael was really strong for us in 2023, and then that kind of allowed us to sell the program to get someone like Lockie in last year, and the team just kind of grew to the next level of focus, determination, and hunger, desire to go win the championship last year. And I've seen that remain within all the team players for heading into 2025, which is key. They've got a taste of winning, and they want to continue doing that.
Obviously driver development's the big thing for the USF Pro Championship, all told, and all the drivers, all the levels, all the teams. Let's kind of go deeper into your program for maybe people that don't know. At what levels are they learning? You're obviously you won Engineer of the Year last year. Do they learn a lot about engineering? Is there a lot about the dynamics of the car? I know you can coach them as a driver. We know that for sure. We can touch on that for a bit. But do they also do you feel like you really work to make sure they understand the dynamics of the race car?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of drivers that come to us with different levels of experience, like someone like Tyke Durst, for example, who's been with us, last season, only had 2 years of racing experience under his belt. So being able to teach him the basics of just race car dynamics in general was critical. And so you kind of have to go through a testing format of allowing them feel the different changes and how the car reacts, if it's, roll bars or tire pressures or rake or whatever it may be, or aero. With any drivers that, like Lockie, who had a bit more experience, really kind of know what they want the car to do to extract the most out of themselves. And we really work on trying to, teach the drivers, obviously, areas on the driving side of how to extract the most out of the car, but then they also kind of teach us of how they can make the car go fast, and trying to make sure the driver has what he needs to extract the most out of himself, for me, is most important.
That's really interesting, because I bring that up a lot, I think, in the broadcast, where as an engineer and a team owner and a coach, you kind of have to have that dialogue with your driver, right? You have a car that you know how it's going to work, but you also have to really learn the driver as well, right? What they want, what car they need to be fast.
Yeah, I mean, some drivers, like things just a little bit different, like Lucky, for example, always liked a really good front end, and then someone like Tyke, who'd be a little less experienced, wanted a bit more security with the rear of the car. So to get the most out of each driver, small changes would have to be made. But it's really just driver comfort, and the more comfortable they are in the car, with their confidence grows, and then that increases their performance, and before you know it, you're fighting at the front. So it's just every driver is a little different, and they all need something to make them a bit better. And
when they come to turn 3, they obviously have you as a winning driver, as I said, as their coach. That's a key thing as well. I know you talked about drivers, and you had this. When you have 5 drivers, they're going to be coming through with different levels of experience, right? So you have to coach them up a little bit differently as well, and the mental games side of it as well. When you've been through those pressure cookers trying to win a championship, the mental game is so crucial as well. How do you handle that with drivers like Tyke and maybe all the way up to a driver like Lockie or now Alessandro D'Attulio?
Yeah, I think it's just really all about managing expectations and understanding what your goals are before the season starts. Like, for example, with Tyke last year was just about gaining experience, through the whole season in preparation for 2025. Yeah. With Lockie, was coming in obviously with someone that we wanted to fight for the championship with, but we knew to do that we have to, be consistent, don't make mistakes, but you still have to push. It's really hard, I think, balance of, like, you have to be aggressive, but it needs to be controlled aggression, and making sure you make the right decisions at the right time.
Yeah.
And taking the, the 3rd or 4th or 5th place finish on a day where the car isn't there to win the race, because obviously, we had a great season, but we were never good enough to win every single race. And it's so important on the days you can win, you maximize those days, like we did, at St. Pete or Toronto or Road America last year, is making sure that the days you can win, you have to win, if possible, and then just managing the rest of it. I mean, the mental aspect of it is a lot, especially with 5 drivers. You're dealing with a lot of different personalities and egos, but
right.
You do your best to try and create the best blend. Like in our team, we really focus on making sure each person is kind of fitted with the right group around them, because obviously being a big team, we're 3 engineers in our program, driver coach as well. So it's just making sure that even down to their mechanics, making sure each driver has the right mechanic that will fit his personality, to make sure he's comfortable with the guy on his car, And that helps everyone. Once the team morale is strong and everyone is confident in what we're doing, and they see that our work ethic is good, they're able to raise their game, and that's what it's all about. Is just trying to get better every day.
Well, that literally segues into kind of the next question I was going to go next, Aaron. That was infrastructure, right? It almost, if you're a sports guy, sports team guy, it almost sounds like you're a general manager there. Like you're in hockey, you're having to put the right guys in the same line with each other, whatever it may be, right? Like you said, you got to put the right mechanics with the right drivers. Yeah, a lot of it's based on personal preference or on maybe their personalities as well. Am I correct in that?
No, absolutely. It's critical. I mean, someone like, and I don't mean to keep going back to Lucky, but he did win a championship for us, so it's important. But like he never had someone on his car full time. His car was kind of more the fifth car of the program, where it was more rotating crew. Like we two guys with Russ Gaglio and Jack Potter on it all year, and they kind of tag team through the season. But with his mentality, it never really bothered him, because he knew in the big picture the team had his back no matter what, and we were never going to put him in a position to fail. And then some other drivers want certain individuals on their car, and we do our best to cater to that best we can. But a lot goes into it. It's the infrastructure of the team is, myself and Mandy run the whole program, but it's a never-ending work to make sure you have the right staff, and the right staff that blend well and work well together, and put their egos aside when they come in the door to go and perform for the team. That's the biggest thing.
And in the end, if you put the people in the right spot, you're the one that's going to be standing on top of the stage at the end of the year at the championship celebration, what you guys were able to do last year. And I want to kind of go back, because this is about creating champions. So we can talk about Lockie Hughes. That's what you were able to do. You were able to win him a championship so he could continue his dream of getting to IndyCar. But let's go back. I want to just touch again on that kind of the mental side, because he has a fantastic St. Petersburg, couple of great results there, gets a victory, and then you guys struggle at NOLA Motorsports Park. Didn't get the results I think he wanted there. He was able to bounce back afterwards as well, but how do you deal with a young driver who's had the big success and then a fall off maybe in the second race to keep them where they need to be moving forward?
Yeah, it was tough. No doubt about it. We are so strong in NOLA postseason, and then again at spring training, we are never expecting to go back there and kind of be as outside the window as we were. And I think it was great kind of bringing Lockie back down to earth a little bit, because he had such a confident start with us through preseason testing, and then St. Pete been so strong. He probably went to NOLA thinking, he'd been quickest there twice preseason, so he was like, well, this is going to be easy. I think it might have been a blessing in disguise, to be honest, that it just remind us all how hard it's going to be and the work ethic it's going to take. So we just kind of suffered through NOLA the best we could, threw everything at it to try and make something happen, and then we got a mechanical as well. So it's just like everything was going the wrong direction, but we just knew we had to regroup and just get some points on the board after that. Going to Indy, we knew we'd be strong at Indy, and we knew we'd be strong at Lucas and then Road America. So we had like 3 events set up for us pretty well as a team to just kind of take a deep breath, relax. And then obviously you had the tech issue with Nikita, which kind of really brought us back in the fight before Road America. So those little things just allowed us to take a bit of a deep breath and reset and just focus on the details and not worry about other people, just focus on our own program. And once we started really just focusing on ourselves, it was kind of all settled in and worked much better for the second half of the year.
Well, and that's the interesting thing. We've been focusing on creating champions as a driver, but what you and Mandy have done over the last couple of years is create a championship team as well. Did that sink in over the offseason? I know we had a lot of fun at the banquet. You guys were able to celebrate with Lockie and his family, but when you go into the offseason, you guys are now a championship winning team. The stakes are higher. Do you feel the pressure to come back and win again this year?
Not really, no, to be honest. I mean, I think getting the first one's the hardest, and no matter what sport you're in, it's like if it's a major event, in tennis or golf or whatever, the first one's the most difficult, because you don't realize what it takes to win until you won. But now we understand the work ethic that is needed to win. We have to always strive to reach that level. So the biggest thing that changed, I think, really last year was just understanding what it takes. Now we know the work required, so we're ready to go, and and focused. We want to try win back-to-back if we can, and then try go for a third. So it's the hunger and passion to keep fighting for championships has only grown since 2024.
I was gonna say, once you taste it that one time, you want it again, right?
Yeah, the whole staff and crew and everyone, they realize like now all these late nights are worth it, because obviously, been a small growing team. We've had a few rough nights at the shop over the years, getting stuff together, and the reward for all the guys was last season to have such a strong year that we did, and I can see it in their face every day at the workshop that they're up for it. So I'm up for it as well.
Well, Peter, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us here on the show. Thank you so much. I know that you're testing again in a couple of weeks. You're in the shop, like you told me before, getting the cars all wrapped up. Thanks again. We appreciate it. And we'll see you at NOLA Motorsports Park.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks so much for having me.
Peter Dempsey, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic job for them last year to win that championship in USF Pro 2000. Turn 3 Motorsport will again be a fighter when we get into the 2025 season. We're almost done with our season previews. Next week, we're going to wrap things up just a week away from NOLA Motorsports Park. Evagoras Papasavvas, a race winner in USF 2000, making the big move with TJ Speed up to USF Pro 2000 for 2025. He'll be a rookie driver looking to try to win a championship, maybe even following in the footsteps of a driver like Lockie Hughes. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition, folks. We do appreciate it. As I said, we're only a couple of weeks away from NOLA, 3 weeks away from the start of the season at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Again, thank you for being with me here at the USF Pro TV studio. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.